Welcome, everyone, to this week's weekly live immigration attorney chat here at Immigration for Couples. I'm attorney Megan Pastrana, and if you are new to our Facebook and YouTube channel and to our firm in general, our firm, Immigration for Couples, we're dedicated exclusively to helping couples across the nation and across the world and navigating the U.S. immigration process. And so I see that we have a lot of people who are watching live. I am streaming this on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram. So you might be watching in any of those places. And I do use a platform called StreamYard. So I can see all of your comments from all of these different platforms. I just ask that you give StreamYard consent. There'll be a box that'll ask if StreamYard has consent to share your name. And that way I can see your name and your picture and all of that, regardless of what platform that you're on. So I see we have some individuals who are regulars who've been with us in prior weeks, and you know the drill. I love to start out with finding out, where are you at in the world? So we have some individuals who've already started doing that. Awesome. Faith, great to have you with us. Julia from New York. Ginger, I know you're from the UK. You've been with us for a couple weeks, so it's great to have you again. And that's wonderful that you get to visit your boyfriend. That's great. So thank you for being with us this week. Have a lot of good mornings. And Taylor is with us today, helping with the Facebook Live today. So I might mention videos or resources, and she will put those in the comments for you. Good morning. Good morning, Lisa. You're always in an interesting place. That's what I said. You've been in Vegas and the salon and all kinds of places. And that sounds like you're getting to sleep in a little bit today. So that sounds wonderful. All right. Tucson, Indiana, a fellow Hoosier. Great to have you with us as well. Awesome. Well, keep on coming. And yeah, and we're happy to have you, Seta. It's great to have you here with us. So today I'm feeling a little, I'm always a very upbeat, optimistic person, but today I'm feeling a little less energetic because unfortunately we received some disappointing news this morning about the Keeping Families Together program that was announced last week. So unfortunately, the Keeping Families Together program has now been paused. There was a lawsuit that was filed by a handful of states in the United States to pause or to end this program. So if some of you might be watching here today wanting information about that, for others of you, it won't directly impact your immigration case, but it's really important. I want to go over this. This is breaking news. It's really important for all of you to be aware if you're going through an immigration process. And maybe you haven't even heard of the program. It was only in existence for about a week. So the Biden administration had announced this new program to really help reduce the amount of time that individuals who are going through a provisional waiver process would have to wait, and also allowed individuals to complete the process here in the United States through a parole program. So this parole program, there's already parole programs that exist specifically for military parole in place. And this was really an expansion of that program. And it was available to anyone who was married to a United States citizen, who was currently here in the United States without documents, who had been here for 10 years. And it was allowing those individuals to apply for parole to be able to then complete the adjustment of status process in the US. Because currently a process does exist for those individuals, and it's called the provisional waiver process. But that process takes well over 6 years to complete, on average 5 to 8 years in some cases. It's just a very, very long process. The individual has to leave to go to an interview. And during that entire time, that individual can't receive a work permit. So this program was really going to reduce that time, streamline that process. And now that this lawsuit that was filed is basically challenging the legality of that program, saying that it's their position that that program should not have been put into effect, that it's not lawful, that wasn't something that the president is able to do, and they're questioning the legality of the program. And like so many things in immigration, there's an opinion on both sides. There are others who are coming forward with support, saying why this program is so important, why this is helpful, why this is so important for families to be able to stay together. So if you have already filed for this process, I want you to walk away with an understanding of what does this lawsuit mean. So there was a temporary restraining order that was filed, and the federal judge approved that. And that's just basically a pause. The program has essentially been paused. He pressed a pause button. And so right now, the program still exists in the sense that you can still apply for the program. You can file your application. We have filed applications for clients. And for those who have already filed, your application will just be essentially paused. Immigration has it in the system. They're not going to look at it until we have further direction or decision from the court. And once the court makes a final decision, if they were to decide to go ahead and let the program exist, then immigration would resume review of those applications. And so we have others who are in the process of applying, and we're talking to clients about the benefits of still going ahead and applying. It's not going to negatively impact any other immigration case that you have. It's giving you another potential bite at the apple. The downside is you're going to be paying a filing fee, and you just don't know if that program will ultimately be ended. So we'll keep you posted on any updates. Right now, that pause is for 14 days. They can extend that pause of the program until a final decision is made. So we'll keep you updated. It feels a little bit like the DACA program, where it was stop start. So we kind of anticipated that there might be some pushback. This is really unfortunate news, and my heart does hurt for those of you who were really looking forward to getting to complete the process in much less time and really be able to start your lives sooner. But please know that if you are eligible for this program, you still have a path to a green card. It's just going to involve more steps and a longer wait, but there's still a path. There's still a path for you. And I really encourage you to reach out. I'm happy to speak with you privately, personally, in a consultation, one-on-one, so we can talk about your situation and what are steps that you can take today to still be able to move the needle forward in your life and be closer to having a green card. All right. And if any of you have any questions, I know that was a lot of information. Okay. And I just wanted to see if anybody had any questions about the program. And just before I keep going. All right. I don't see that I do. I have a few individuals that are saying, or I guess maybe just one, that you don't support the Keeping Families Together program. And I am all about holding dualities. And by that, I mean, I can hold dualities for your opinion and then for my opinion, and for others, right? We all, that's part of being human. We all have different ideas and opinions. And I understand that there are individuals who don't support the program. And I'd like to clarify some things about the program, rumors that are out there. And so I know a lot of individuals are really concerned and they don't support the program because they think that it's going to result in longer wait times for spouse visas or fiancé visas, for example. Really, this program, these individuals who are applying for this program, they're going to be able to receive a green card anyway. It's just a matter of it's going to take more steps and be much, much longer. Like I said, the 5 to 8 year wait. The great thing, though, about this program that's actually a benefit to everyone is that immigration was removing that waiver piece that takes years and years for officers to adjudicate. There's thousands of applications that are in the queue, in the hopper, for immigration officers to review for waivers. And there's over a 2-year wait for other types of waivers. So if we removed this piece and created a more streamlined process, a shorter process, if these individuals could, be able to move forward with that shorter application and they didn't have to do that waiver process, that would free up a ton of immigration officer bandwidth and time. And those officers could actually be reviewing spouse petitions and other types of waiver applications that could really ultimately help reduce the overall wait times, really in general. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I still respect your opinion, but your comment just really reminded me of some of the things that I'm seeing out there. And I wanted to provide education and clarity for everyone. But again, I support I'm a very pragmatic person. I know that the immigration system has a lot of things that could be that need to be fixed. So I understand completely. All right, let me see. And if you are watching on Instagram, I'll keep double checking and looking over there to see. Those are the only comments and questions I don't see on this end. So I'll keep an eye on there if you're on Instagram and have questions. All right, so let's dive in. Let's dive into all the questions we have queued up for today. So if the priority date is current, does that affect a spousal petition for someone married to a US citizen? So priority dates really only come into play for non-immediate relatives. So a US citizen spouse is an immediate relative, and there's immediate relatives who don't have to wait for a visa to become available, and the non-immediate relatives would be individuals like siblings, a US citizen petitioning for their siblings, for example. There's only a certain amount of visas every year for non-immediate relatives. And we have to look at the National Visa Center bulletin to see what is the current priority date and to tell us if visas are available or not. So typically it's not going to affect anything for a spouse visa petition for someone who's married to a US citizen. All right. So, Victoria, great to have you with us. You're doing a spouse visa for the Dominican Republic. You've been documentarily qualified since October of 2023 and still waiting to be notified for an embassy interview. And then you're asking how much notice do you get when the appointment is scheduled? Typically, the US embassies and consulates will give you about a 30-day notice. So we see that our clients in general will receive a notice for the following month. They usually give you about 30, 45 days. Sometimes they put individuals on a fast track and for various reasons, and you'd have less time. But typically what we see is about 30 days. And they do that intentionally so you have time for medical exam and all of that. All right. And do check your spam folder. I don't know what it is about important emails going into the spam folder sometimes from immigration. All right. Which is better for a faster process? I think you mean resident or US citizen, or is going through a family-based option to become a US citizen better as opposed to becoming one yourself? So the resident and citizen, you don't get to pick. Permanent resident status is the first step. You have to be a permanent resident. And then from there, if you so choose, you can file to become a US citizen. So that's a different process. Typically family-based options are the better options when you're looking at family-based, humanitarian, employment, all the different kinds of immigration law. Typically family-based is a better option. But there are so many different kinds of visas that I can't say conclusively. I don't know what other options for which you may be eligible. And I think, BJ, you've asked about this before in a different way. You had a little bit of a different question. And I think you were kind of looking to do the process on your own in terms of like petitioning, like a self petition. So I would say typically family-based is better, but for some individuals, if you have a job offer or things like that, that might make more sense. So, but again, the resident comes first, and then the citizenship process. All right, who is next? So, Josh, you want to know if an individual is fleeing a hostile situation and you can't get the certain documents from the government. So. If that happens, if there are country conditions or certain reasons that you can't get a birth certificate or a police background check, for example, then oftentimes immigration is aware of those country conditions, and there'll be a place where immigration will put on the National Visa Center instructions that if a document is unavailable, you have to provide proof of why that is, or proof that it's unavailable. So sometimes that can be documentation or information from a civil registry office, right? For birth certificates, like if it's closed, or if there's no way to obtain it, or if there was a natural disaster and documents were lost, just providing proof of that. And sometimes immigration will waive a document requirement. that happens a lot with birth certificates and police certificates for clients from certain countries. But yes, you can sometimes ask for a waiver of that requirement if it's really impossible to obtain. Some documents immigration is willing to do that with, and that's why I said birth certificate and police clearance. There are others where that's not an option, and there'd have to be secondary evidence. So if you didn't have a birth certificate, like for our clients from India, sometimes there might not have been a birth certificate depending on when the birth occurred, and we can provide certain school records and letters of attestation, like attesting to the birth, if that birth certificate doesn't exist. So, all right. All right, I'm going through. I have a lot of good mornings. Good morning. And then Belgium and Miami. That's awesome. Awesome. Los Angeles, California. Minnesota. Great, great, great. All right, what's my next question in the queue? All right, so Serena, and your picture is very cute. All right, so you're wanting to know about the I-130 and you're needing help with an expedite or a process to help with our nonprofit, wondering how to navigate. So I'm not, I think there's probably, of course, there are pieces of the puzzle. It's hard to put your question in just a few sentences, I understand, with not being able to give background, right? So I think what I'm understanding is you're asking about an expedite for your I-130 petition. So an expedite is a process where you can ask immigration to make a decision on your case faster. And they will do that under certain serious circumstances. So there has to be a medical emergency or something that's very serious, and very extreme, because immigration wants to, they say, be fair in their adjudication and decide the applications in the order that they receive them. But we have done expedites for clients for various reasons and have gotten expedites approved. They are, I always am honest with clients, they are a bit of a Hail Mary pass, meaning it's very difficult to get an expedite approved. You have to have a lot of strong evidence and a really clear and convincing argument as to why your case merits an expedite. Sadly, we've had individuals who have really serious health issues and health concerns, and USCIS will say, yeah, that's serious, but sorry, not serious enough. You'll just have to wait. So with expedites, like a lot of things in immigration, it depends a lot on the officer that's reviewing it. So expedites are a tool. They are a good tool. They are, sometimes they are definitely worth trying depending on the situation. But oftentimes it's just important to know they are difficult to get approved. So, all right. Hopefully that helps and answer your question. And Taylor can put some video links up that I've made other videos talking about expedite requests to give you more information. All right. Let me go through and see. I have a lot of questions that are coming in here, so that's great. Keep them coming. I'll do my best to get to as many as I can in the time that we have here today. All right. So you're from Texas and your wife is from the Philippines, and she has been documentarily qualified for an interview since May of 2014. How long is the wait for an interview letter? It's been over 90 days. Yeah, so that's great that you're documentarily qualified. Congratulations, you're getting closer. Documentarily qualified is always a great indication that you're getting closer to that interview date. Interview wait times really vary a lot. It depends on the time of year. It depends on the embassy or consulate where the case is being processed. And I would say for our clients from the Philippines that are going through a spouse visa process, we're seeing about a 6 to 8 month wait time, give or take. We've had some that have come through a little sooner and then some that have taken longer. But typically, you're not going to see an interview within 90 days because the National Visa Center and Immigration stateside is transferring everything to that consular post. Hopefully soon, but that's really what we're seeing in terms of wait time. And good luck with your case. Please keep us posted, and hopefully you get an interview soon. Sending positive vibes your way. Okay. So, Fer, Good morning to you too. And so you said you're doing a fiance visa and the minimum income required is around 20K if the income is around 36. Okay. So for the affidavit of support, that is the piece that you're talking about. The amount that you need to make depends on your household size. So if it is just a household size of two, then you would look at that I-864P poverty guidelines to see how much it is that you need to make. There's a lower amount if you're active military, and then if there are any dependent children or any other family members whom are dependent upon you for support, then that would have to be counted in your household size, and that would increase the amount that you would need to make. On average, though, for a household size of two, you're looking at about 26K, right? So if you make enough, and that amount that you make is based on your prior year tax returns and your current employment, then you wouldn't have to go into the asset piece. So if an individual makes enough with their job, then that's all that a person has to show, is that their income is enough. Sometimes individuals are really close and don't make quite enough income but have assets, and so then we can go in and prove assets in 3 times the difference, or you can use a joint sponsor. So if you make enough, then you make enough, and you don't have to go into any more documentation. If people are on the line, though, oftentimes we will prepare our clients with taking assets and things like that to avoid any administrative ping pong with the government. So, great question. Oh, okay, Natalie. Yeah, Natalie, your question confused me, and then I realized that you retyped it. How long is the protector? And then I was like, I can't guess what you mean by that. And then I see you put down here, how long is the process for the fiance visa or marriage visa? So right now we're seeing that the fiance visa is going faster for most of our clients. They're getting through the process in under a year. We've had some unicorn cases that we've gotten all the way through in about 6 months, which is amazing. So I would say, be prepared for about a year wait on that fiance visa. And then with the marriage based visa, those are still at about 18 months, at about a year and a half, give or take. So, all right. Good morning from Michigan. Oh, sorry. Goodness. I was reading the next comment and then I see Jamaica and I say Michigan because Natalie is from Michigan. Great to have you with us. And then Jamaica. That sounds like a wonderful place to be. All right. Anna, it's great to have you with us. All right. And I know you're in your removal of conditions mode, I believe, because from your prior questions. So you say about photos, do I have to add the names of all the people present? My husband's family is very large. Yep, that sounds like our families at the holidays. So the family photos are really great. I wouldn't avoid those because immigration is looking not just to see a bunch of photos with the two of you, but to see you with family and friends and living life. So if it's a really big family photo, it's fine to say, Anna and her husband with Anna's family or something. That's completely fine. Okay, so let me see. It looks like I have somebody here on LinkedIn. So that's great. You're holding an L1B visa. And if you marry my US citizen partner, how long would it take to get the green card for me and my 2 daughters, ages 17 and 19? So the green card process through adjustment of status right now is taking about a year. Depends on when you were both married, because if children are under the age of 18 when the marriage occurs, that US citizen is legally the step parent, and that child will meet the definition of child under the Immigration and Nationality Act, allowing that step parent to actually file green card applications for the children. In some cases, that isn't an option if they're already, over the age of 18 when the time the marriage occurred. So that's something we'd really have to look more closely at before filing and determine what's the best path for everyone. But in general, our green card adjustment of status applications are taking about a year, give or take. Like everything in immigration, sometimes it can take much more time or less, but on average, that's what we're seeing. Okay. So you're working on your fiancé visa. That's great. And will there be any problems? Well, I haven't seen your application and I don't know all the details in your background, so I can't say conclusively. If you are wanting individualized guidance, I'm happy to meet with you in a consultation and talk about how our firm can help you to navigate the process and avoid problems or issues. Here's our website and our phone number so you can schedule a consultation. Otherwise, a good place to start would be our free resource center, and Taylor can put that link to our free resource center in the comments for you. But our free resource center is very robust, and I have a whole series on the fiancé visa process and what to expect. And then we also have a downloadable guide and a free webinar. So if you're not quite ready for that consultation with me, then that would be a good place for you to start to educate yourself and help to minimize any problems that could happen in your application. All right. Yeah, and Eds, I totally agree. Something needs to happen about processing times across the board, for sure. The wait times for spouse visas is out of control. We've seen the fiance visa wait time decrease, and I'm hopeful that the spouse visa will follow suit too. A lot of it's really just needing more immigration officers, needing more efficiencies, needing a lot of things for the immigration system, indeed. So I agree. Wait times are inhumane sometimes, I is what I say. And also realizing too that yes, the wait times are long and it's really frustrating, but I would be remiss for not also mentioning it's so important. And I'm saying this from a place of not just being an immigration attorney who's helped thousands of couples through the process. I'm also saying it to you as someone who's gone through an immigration process with my husband, that it's so important to take care of our mental health and also to see things and pay attention to our mindset and see things in a different light, and making sure we're not focusing solely on just how difficult it is and how stressful it is and how long it is, and getting trapped in there, and instead shifting our focus really to, this is difficult, but we're going to make it through. We're going to come out the other side even stronger. Our relationship's going to be stronger. We can do this, and once we get through this process, we can handle anything, right? So it's really just, it's a balance of, and I'm advocating, my firm and we are advocating all the time. I go to Washington, D.C. with the American Immigration Lawyers Association. I meet with members of Congress on a regular basis, talking with them and letting them know how the system is impacting clients and all of the individuals who are going through the process and what needs to change. So we are always advocating for change as well. So I agree with you for sure. For sure, for sure. Yeah, it is. It is. Families, all families need to be together for sure. All right. If you are a U if United Kingdom immigrant can financially support themselves in the US without government assistance, but receives it in the United Kingdom, will it affect the fiancé visa or affidavit of support? So even if an individual can financially support themselves, the affidavit of support is still a required piece of the puzzle. And the US citizen still has to provide their financial information and show that they can provide financial support. The idea of that affidavit of support is a worst case scenario. It's a contract with the government for a worst case scenario if the immigrant beneficiary is not able to support him or herself, medical reasons or something of that nature, then the petitioner is saying, hey, I will step up and I will take this role. And I love when I hear the US citizen spouse say, I'm fine. I can give my tax returns. I'm plan on doing that anyway. We love each other and we're going to take care of each other. So it's not, not a big deal. So I love hearing that too, because really that's, what you're agreeing to with marriage as well, to help each other and support each other and be a team. So, but I digress. Yes, that's great if you have your financial support and can show you're self-sufficient, but you'll still have to have that affidavit of support piece. All right. Okay, so and for letters of support, it's really quality over quantity, and it's also a matter of who knows you best. And so it can be friends, it can be family, just individuals who know of your relationship and can really speak to your relationship from pre-marriage to present. is the best possible thing you can do. So, and it also is helpful if they're citizens or resident U.S. citizens or lawful permanent residents. Okay, so Sarah, you got a notice from the National Visa Center that your fiance or spouse's I-129F petition. Um, okay, that's great. So, yay! Celebration. That's awesome. Your case is being transferred. You should be getting an email then next from the embassy or consular post with instructions. Taylor can post and you can check it out too on YouTube. I did a series about the fiancé visa process, and you can check out the free resource center that I have the website at the bottom, Immigration for Couples, that walks through the fiancé visa process. But typically, you're going to want to keep an eye out for that email for the embassy or consular post. So congratulations. That's exciting. Getting closer. All right. You're very welcome, Victoria. It's great to have you here. It's my pleasure. So is there a way for a spouse visa petition to be approved faster than normal? Yes. Yes, we have our cases that get approved in record time, and I like to call those my unicorn cases. I have a lot of clients that say, "Oh, I hope I'm one of your unicorn cases," and we hope that too, where a decision just comes through super fast. I mean, we've had cases where we file it and then we'll get a receipt notice and a week later get an approval. Please know that's not for every case, but it does happen. So it just happens to be the officer that was assigned your case where you fell on the stack. Sometimes they make mistakes in your favor and review your application earlier. Other reasons a spouse visa application could be approved sooner is if there was a serious emergency reason, an expedite reason. Like I said, we do file expedites for our clients and have been successful, relatively successful with expedites, given that only a small percentage of them are approved. So that's a couple ways that a spouse visa could be approved faster. All right. And I'm going to try to do a couple more. I'm trying to do as many questions as I can before I have to leave today. And I will go through as many as I can here. I'm going to do a couple more, like 2 or 3 more is what I think I can fit in with my schedule here today. I could nerd out on immigration all day, though, so I have to set a time limit. Got my case number at the end of June. You submitted your consular application, paid the fee. So you should have received an interview instructions notice from the embassy. I'm not clear if you have received that, because while you can complete that DS-160 and get your documents around, you're typically not going to want to pay the fee or take any other steps until the embassy tells you. So that's really going to be your next step. Sometimes it can take a few months for the embassy to reach out to you and let you know they have the case. So it has to go from the National Visa Center to the embassy. You'll get that email, and then you're able to take the additional steps of like scheduling the medical exam and scheduling your interview and all that good stuff. Mm, good. I'm glad that it's helpful. All right. And it's great to see some individuals from LinkedIn. Every once in a while, we'll get a handful of people from LinkedIn. So that's awesome. We have a lot of viewers on YouTube and Facebook. That seems to be the popular places. So Carl, that you are getting married, or got married rather. Congratulations. That's super exciting. Um, So if yes, so this would be 2 separate applications. You'd have a spouse visa application and then an application to bring your stepdaughter. And typically you're looking at that 18-month wait time that I had quoted earlier in general for our clients from the DR. That's really what we're seeing, about 18 months. We've had individuals who've gotten a decision much sooner. But we work to process those applications together so they can get an interview together, because it really is going to be 2 separate processes. So awesome. Hi, it's great to have you with us. We have a lot of clients in South Africa. It's lovely to have you. Rudy, I'm not sure. Let me just double check, because I see someone said, great question, Rudy. And Oh, yes, that was your question earlier about your okay. And so this was must be the other part. Does unemployment affect the fiancé visa application or affidavit of support? So if the immigrant beneficiary is unemployed, typically that's not going to be an issue. But if the US citizen petitioner is unemployed, yes, that can add some extra complexities to the case. It's still possible to get through the process. And we work with our clients to proactively, if that's the situation, to make a game plan, whether that's assets or a joint sponsor. But that can impact the case and the strategy. Okay, so Musa, I think you put your question in multiple times, and just so everybody knows, I am answering the questions in the order that I receive them, and I'm doing my best to get to all of them in the time we have. So please just put your question in one time, and then I promise I'll do my best to get to it. If I can't get to it today, I always look at the questions after the show, and a lot of times I will make videos on those questions because if you have the question, a lot of times others will too. So I will take a look at those and try to get everybody answers and if not, I'll be here next Tuesday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. You are very welcome. My pleasure. Make sure. So, Celine, how can someone file a motion to reopen? So, there's different kinds of motions to reopen. There's motions to reopen with USCIS. There's motions to reopen with immigration court. It's really going to depend on what kind of motion to reopen. Typically, with USCIS, filing a motion to reopen is something that's time barred, which means you have a certain period of time in which you can respond and request that the file be reopened or reviewed. So the process of the how is typically quite complex and it will really depend on your case type and if we're talking about USCIS or immigration court. All right. And then I see that Taylor was putting in some links about that expedite request since we've had a lot of questions. All right. So Shelly, you've been away from your husband and kids 5 years now. I'm so sorry. That's so rough. And it took you 3 years to wait on the petition. And then you went to the interview and found out you had to do a waiver and still waiting. This is too much and you cry every day. I'm really, really sorry. And I know you have been watching these lives and been participating for quite a while. And I know you've asked questions about the waiver before. And so it's heartbreaking. That waiver process is very long. And that's why when I joined this morning, my heart was hurting that this other program wasn't working as I was really hopeful that if that program could continue, it was going to free up a ton of officers who could focus more time on these 601 waiver applications. And so all of you know, waiver applications, the I-601 waiver process covers a lot of different things. Sometimes individuals want a waiver of the vaccination requirement that they are opposed religiously or morally to vaccinations. And you have to go, you can receive a waiver to not have to do those vaccines, but this is a long waiver process. It's also for individuals who previously misrepresenting something on a tourist visa application. One of the most common things I see is someone hired an agency in another country. I see it a lot in the Philippines and Thailand, a lot of different places in the world. Everywhere in the world, I should say, there are individuals who will say, "Oh, we can help you get a US tourist visa." And then they will do the process for you and really not educate you because they're not licensed attorneys and they don't really understand the process and they misrepresent information. And later you find, oh my gosh, now immigration is going to make me ask for forgiveness for this error. And so that is the 601 waiver process. There's so many other scenarios where a waiver is required. I'm giving you some common ones. And to answer your questions, Shelly, expedite requests, we have for our individuals that are going through the waiver process, we do try expedite requests, congressional inquiries, and in some extreme situations, we have also filed mandamus actions to sue the government for their unreasonable delay. And if that's something that you would like to talk about, we can talk about that one-on-one privately in a consultation. That would be the best way for us to have that conversation. But there are a couple different options. The mandamus action sounds extreme. It is an extreme measure, and we file that lawsuit against the government and say we are suing you because you're failing to do your duty and you're taking an unreasonable amount of time to adjudicate and decide this application. We've had a lot of success with mandamus action cases, but again, that's something I'm happy to talk with you about if you're at a place where you're wanting to explore that. All right. Okay, so how do you know if we're even eligible to start the journey? Would it be best to speak with a lawyer? Does one have to choose an immigration in the U.S. in the state where you're living? So, a really great place to start, I would say, is our free resource center. I have a webinar and I go through the different options that are available, the process, how to be successful in your immigration journey, and that webinar is free. And our resource center, it's free resources to help educate you. I created that specifically because I know couples at the beginning of their immigration journey feel lost in a little bit of an alphabet soup with the K ones and CR ones and all these letters. But the resource center is a great place to start. And then having a consultation with me, the phone numbers below, the website, you can schedule on the website. I'm happy to give you guidance and talk with you about possible paths, and I will give you my recommendation of what I think is the best path based on your goals and your specific case and situation. You do not have to hire an immigration attorney in the state that you are living. Immigration law is federal, which means that I can represent anyone in the world wherever you live because it's federal law and it's U.S. immigration law. So I'd be happy to speak with you. And yeah, those would be the best places to start. So you can see that below, the Immigration for Couples website, and then you're welcome to call. And Lisa will be happy to give you some information and get you on my calendar and we can chat. But our entire firm even before COVID, I've always embraced technology, and we already were set up even before COVID for we were a virtual office, meaning our clients don't have to come in and drop off documents. We make your life easier so you can work with us virtually. We meet on Zoom. We'll give you a secure link to submit documents to us, a way that you can pay us, and we will cut the government filing fee. We will mail the application, save you the trip, right? So you don't have to waste time driving anywhere, and we can work with you no matter where you are. So great question. And you're welcome, Shelly. Hang in there. I know it's hard. And I'm happy to help you if you're, wanting to talk in private. All right. I have to jet. It's really hard because I see really great questions in here, and I wish I wish I could get to everybody's questions here today. Like I said, I'm going to go through these, and I'll make videos, and I'm going to pull out some of these questions. There's some of these questions. They're all great, but some of the other ones, and I can start with those questions next week. Thank you all for being with me here today. Please check out the free resource center at immigrationforcouples.com. Like I said, it's a very robust resource center, has a lot of great information. And if you're just starting out, or even if you're in the middle of your immigration journey, that resource center is a really great place to go to get some guidance and clarity. And as always, I'm happy to meet with any of you one-on-one in a consultation, and you can schedule it on the website. All right, everybody, have a good day. Hang in there. I've sensed a lot of energy of just, frustration, and also, just hang in there. That's all I can say. That's all I can keep saying. You'll get to the finish line. You will, just each day thinking you're one day closer. It will make you so strong on the other side as individual resiliency, and then also as a couple. And we are not, no matter what happens in the world of immigration, here at Immigration for Couples, we're not going to give up fighting for all of you. So sending you all love and positive vibes, and I'll see you next week, everybody. Take care. Bye.